financial markets, cryptocurrency, gold and silver, world news.
Fair to say you simply flooded the system with money.
Yes, we did. That's another way to think about it. We did.
Where does it come from? Do you just print it?
We print it digitally, and we do that by buying treasury bills. That actually increases the money supply.
Financial Turmoil Explained.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show on this Friday the 15th of April, 2022. Thank you for tuning in. Glad to have you guys here. I'm going to tell you guys why. This is a Easter show. Right? Happy Easter, guys. Anyway, I had a little something or another. Taking a lot of vitamins for it. Getting myself over it. Working at it anyway. Taking lots of cod liver oil. Taking lots of vitamin D. Taking lots and lots of vitamin C. You know. Probably taking more than a recommended dose of vitamin C. Eating lots of fruit and vegetables, trying to get my sleep. Anyway, I'm getting over it slowly, though. But it gave me laryngitis for a little while. So anyway, back in there talking to you guys about what's going on. You know, there's a big ship over in Russia. And I mean, it was a monster of a ship. And it sank. Now, what's interesting is there was a little island off the coast there. There was Ukraine's people stationed there on the island, and the ship told them to surrender. And they said, basically, the gist of it was they told them to go to hell. And so the ship bombed them, guys. And I guess they killed them. And that wasn't very long ago. And now the ship is sunk, the same ship. And it's interesting. And I'll tell you why it's interesting is, this universe, you know, it's not what we think it is, really. You know, I believe in the universe is all math, and that it's also electric. It's an electric universe. And the universe, well, let me put it this way. Picture two fleas, you know, and they're on the back of a big English sheepdog. So the fleas, they don't know they're on the back of a sheepdog. And they see the fur, each piece of fur coming up like a big tree, you know, so they're at the base of these trees, and they got what they think is an oil well. They're digging in, you know, and they think they're digging for oil on the back of this dog. So one flea looks at the other flea and he says, you know, I'm theorizing about this universe. He says, see these big giant trees? Look, they reach the sky, and this lumpy soil down here that we dig into, and all this oil comes spurting out that we collect every day. You know, I'm theorizing that this is some sort of a being that maybe has a consciousness. And the other flea looks at him and says, no, this is just the forest, and just the ground, and this is just the oil we're digging out of the ground. But we all know that in the big picture, they're on the back of a dog. And the dog is conscious, you know? And that's the way with us. We are very small and minute in this universe. And we are like the fleas. We don't see it for what it really is. It's infinitely more complex. And I believe that this universe is conscious. You can call it by many names. Names are just names. You could call it God. But I believe that this universe is a conscious entity. And, of course, like all conscious entities, it probably sees everything that's going on. And it believes in justice. And, I mean, and probably goodness. Or, you know, I mean, there's an awful lot of injustice going on in the world and things that aren't good, you know. And, you know, I mean, going back into the 1800s, you had Charles Darwin, and he came up with the theory of evolution, which is a great theory for his day to try to explain how we got here and where we come from. But what he was trying to do is just explain to us something that is practically unexplainable. So, anyway, I got rambling on a little bit. I'm looking at the markets right now. Changing the subject a little bit, talking about the markets. The markets are sitting on a precipice because what the Fed's doing. And, they're not going to get away with it. Because back when Paul Volcker raised rates, we only had less than $1 trillion in debt. Now we're over $30 trillion in debt. And the United States government, they have to service that debt. It means they have to pay interest payments on it. And if you raise rates, interest payments go up. But not only that, got a huge housing market out there. Makes up a certain part of the economy. It puts something in called a wealth effect into the economy. And this wealth effect is very important toward the general strength of the economy. And also, you've got your equity market. It could turn downward sharply in the next coming months, and it probably will. And at some point, all this talk that the Fed's out there are going to do quantitative tightening and everything, they're going to have to reverse policy. Now, what I'm looking at is gold and silver. What's going to be the net effect for gold and silver when the Fed has to change monetary policy? This is what we've been waiting for all this time, because we have tremendous inflation out there. It's not going away, and the Fed's not going to be able to stop it with this monetary policy. So what's going to happen when they turn and change directions in monetary policy? Well, that's when everybody out there is going to start to get scared, and they're going to start to try to get their money off into real things. I've talked about this for years on my show. This is when I used an example. I can't remember who started this example, but they said it's going to be the pressure. It's going to be like Niagara Falls trying to get through a wire hose. I've used the example many times. It's like if you had a stadium full of people, and all of a sudden somebody yelled fire, and they all head for the exits at once. That's what's going to happen. People are going to try to get their money off into something that's real and tangible, and it's going to be like a herd mentality when you see a stampede, for instance, and they're going to try to get into something that's going to preserve their purchasing power. When they actually see the dollar going down faster than what it's already going down and proceeding to go a lot faster and faster. Well, what's that going to do when they all try to get out at the same time? It's going to speed it up a lot more. It's like an engine, once it gets going and that flywheel gets going, then it really starts to spin fast, much quicker. And that's where we're at now. It's starting to spin. The flywheel's going. So I'm going to tell you guys, this is the time to get into your precious metals, honest to goodness. There's no upper limit to how high they could go. And there's very little downside risk. And one of the things that's keeping an awful lot of people out, my viewing audience, is they say, well, I got to pay the premium. And then if I go to sell, I'm probably going to take a 10 to 20% loss, because when I figure in the premium that I paid and what I'm going to get if I try to sell right now. And what you're doing is you're not thinking about what's going to happen in the very near future. Yes, they're holding it down, and yes, things are proceeding like they have been for the last number of years with a premium there on the price. But you have to realize the only thing that's holding this back and keeping this where it is this very negative, restrictive Fed policy that's going on right now, this very hawkish Fed policy. It's ultra hawkish. And this is not going to last very long, because it's going to start downturn in place, and they can't afford a downturn. It's just as simple as that. And so basically what the Fed's doing right now is they're playing a game of poker with all of you out there. And they're holding their hand back, and they've got a poker face. And they are bluffing right now. They're bluffing. They're bluffing their heads off. And when they have to fold, this game is over, and it's probably only a few months away from when they have to fold. And if you're not in there, if you're not on the train, if you haven't got your ticket and on the train already, you're going to miss the boat. It's going to sail off without you. And what you're going to be stuck in is stuck in these fiat, these worthless dollars that are not going to purchase anything. They're going to rob all of your money out of the bank through a hidden tax called inflation. It's as simple as that, guys. You are going to be robbed if you're still in fiat, if you're all in fiat. So, I mean, some of you guys out there might have a lot in savings. And the problem with this is for some of you guys, I understand, because some of you guys can't move that money. You can't, you're stuck with it there. You can't, for one reason or another, you can't access it and get it out. And you're watching it there and you know this is going to hit. I don't exactly know what the answer is for that, That's just a bad situation, because you're going to lose a lot of it to inflation over the next couple of years. Maybe there must be some answer, but try to figure it out for yourself, because this thing is really, I'm serious. Right now, inflation's probably close to 20%, and that's the real amount of inflation. And what we're seeing I think it was 24% inflation, something like that, and fuel costs and stuff. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But what we're going to see, this is nothing. This is just a lead-in. This is just the first little taste of what's coming down the pike. When the Fed has to turn and change direction, they say, okay, we can't fight it anymore. We've lost this war. So anyway, guys, have a great Easter weekend. And happy Easter egg hunts, whatever you're doing out there. And we'll catch you guys in the next show. And, I think I might have found a way to help fix my mic. I couldn't figure out where the gain was on it. I turned the gain down a little bit, so maybe it's not quite so buzzy. Catch you guys in the next show. And listen, if you got friends out there, just say, hey, I know a channel. There's a guy on this channel, and he's forecasted for years what's going to happen, and he's always ahead of these other guys. And he's only a small channel, but after he makes a forecast, 6 months later, all the others are making the same forecast he made 6 months earlier. And he's always ahead, a little bit ahead. And say he's really good and he's on every day. You can watch him, and just click on and like and subscribe, because I need a lot of subscribers. I really appreciate that. Catch you guys in the next show. Bye-bye.